You're listening to SM Media, the #1 place for exclusive content.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Scottish Football Show Extra right here on SM Media. I'm Scott McPie, delighted to be your host as always. It's a Clydebank special in this week's show. We're delighted to be joined by the Clydebank manager, Gordon Moffat. Gordon, it's a pleasure to welcome you on the show. Thanks for joining me.
No, pleasure to be on again. Have a chat with you.
Brilliant. And we're joined as well by the Clydebank captain, Nicky. Nicky, it's a pleasure to welcome you on the channel. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, mate.
Well, it's just so you know, before we go into stuff, there's a lot of stuff coming through about you and experiences in the dressing room. So, are you any kind of ideas where they're coming from?
Pass.
Well, we're going to go in. We're going to do a lot in the show. We're going to obviously just talk to Gordon and Nicky about the Clydebank start to the season so far. We'll talk about both men's careers. We'll do the quickfire questions, teammates round. We'll open the floor up to some fan questions. And then we'll look at what's coming up for Clydebank. So we'll start off, Gordon, with you. Obviously, third in the Premier Division so far after 16 games. First 12 games unbeaten, then it's been 2 defeats, 4 draws and 10 wins. If somebody had said to you at the start of the season, 16 games, you'd be sitting third in the league, would you be happy with it?
Don't know if I'd be happy, but I'd probably be content, would be the right word. You know, it was obviously, I think I spoke to you at the start of the season, Scott, before we kicked off. And in my mind, that was kind of the remit, was to get us back at the sharp end of the league, which is obviously where we are just now. And there'll be a lot of hard work to keep us there. But I would say, it's been a mixed bag. It's been a mixed bag. We've got a new squad who's not really had a chance to play together. Last season, we got 7 games and a cup game before it got curtailed. And then we've added a few more again in the summer there. So sometimes I need to remember that myself, take a wee step back and remember where we're at. I think it's been good over the piece with some not so good stuff in there. It's probably more my assessment.
Nicky, how's it been for you? Obviously, last season was a bit stop-start with COVID and things like that, but how happy have you been to get back to a normal schedule?
No, it's been good. Probably speaking for majority of boys in the league, like who played and who didn't last year, but getting back into a bit of routine, whether Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, whatever your routine is, it's brilliant for getting the league back going and how competitive it is as well this year with 20 teams. But no, it's been good. Back to enjoying it, back into the routine again.
Definitely. Gordon, the first 2 games, obviously, it was a 2-2 draw with Auchinleck. We spoke about that at the start of the season. Then it was a 2-2 draw with Cumbernauld. What was it like to get back to normal? And obviously a big first game against Auchinleck. You've been kind of, after watching them, you've been surprised how well they've started as well?
No, I've not been surprised how well they're doing, not at all. It was obviously, I said to you at the time when it was on my shankers and that as well, it was a very tough first game to be given, but I thought we were good that day for good spells. It was a pretty good ding-dong game, to be fair. We had a really good start, and then they grew back into it. They tweaked their system a wee bit, and then we were behind, and we got ourselves back into it. So draw was probably fair. It was a great game to get us kicked off.
And then obviously after the two draws, 6 wins in a row, scoring 16 goals in 6 games. Nicky, what about those games was kind of sticking out? Just how well the team was scoring goals, and what kind of changed for the first 2 games to the next 6?
Just probably carried on a bit of momentum. Going to Talbot, obviously first game of the season, picking up a point. We're probably content with that. Coming away and then a bit deflating, drawn to Cumbernauld. Cumbernauld are a good side, but with home games, probably wanted to take the first home game of the season, wanted to take 3 points, but just something then clicked to make it in a wee rhythm. And because it was when you're playing so close together, Saturday, Wednesday, you can get in a rhythm of just gradually turning up, taking 3 points and just keep going and just kind of steamrolling a wee bit. We just got in that bit of routine and it was good. It was enjoyable as well, and it's a tough league to go undefeated in 8, never mind win 6 in a row. So no, it was good.
Gordon, obviously you've made a few signings as well. Hamish McKinley obviously coming for Auchinleck. There's a couple more come in over the summer. How's it been kind of gelling them in? Obviously you've got a couple for last season as well that maybe this is their first kind of full season at the team. How's it been kind of gelling everybody together?
I mean, it's been fine, and I think we're at a stage now. I say to the guys all the time, they're a really tight group. It's good to see. They do a wee bit of social stuff as well together, golfing and that, and that's great. That's important for me. But yeah, as you said, Scott, it's been a big turnover of players since I came to the club, which I felt was needed. I felt it was needed. Just taking stock in that first season. And no really reflection on guys' ability that left the club. It was more just I felt it needed really freshened up, bringing on guys and more ideas, and so we've done that. So it's been a huge turnover, and as I said at the start, last season we only got 8 games and we were getting into a wee rhythm. Obviously, we won them all, bar one that we drew. So that was frustrating last season. So we almost felt like you were restarting that again, coming back into pre-season. They've been doing remote training and all that. So we had to kind of go back to scratch again and build again, which is difficult. But it's been the same for a lot of teams. And I think the lads they've handled it really well. And, they were ready. They were ready for the start of the season, fitness-wise. And it was just about getting them into games.
Nicky, your wonder goal that's got 50,000 views. Talk us through that and how buzzing you were to be popular on social media for a day.
It was just one of these freak things, probably. I think the game against Cumnock, we probably started well with a few half chances, and then we're in a bit of ascendancy, whereas things like that come off. Whereas if it was getting beat 2-1 with 10 minutes to go and you're not going to hit the ball, I don't think you'd probably try it. But no, I don't know. It was just one of them freak goals. I probably never had it sweeter again in my life. But my phone was going mental. It's probably as quick as my phone battery's drained. But no, it was funny. It was just one of these freak goals. You'll take it once it's given, but it was a bit of, I don't know. I couldn't really explain anything about it. I probably don't really know what I was doing shooting for it anyway. And it was a goal kick, so I couldn't really explain much about it. Just probably a freak incident, but I'll take it when it comes.
Definitely brilliant. Gordon, the two, again, I know your 4 draws have all been 2 each. Obviously, the draw with Meadow and then the draw with Darvel, which everybody's kind of talking about. It was it was a really, really tough game and things like that. And everybody felt Darvel should have got something. But how did you find that game? Obviously, Darvel have obviously been a big kind of club to look out for. But what was your kind of thoughts in that 2-2 draw with Darvel?
Probably one of my biggest disappointments from us of the season. In terms of performance-wise, I thought we got a point at the game in the end, which was great under the circumstances. But probably our biggest disappointment in terms of particularly first half. Darvel have obviously got a squad full of quality, and they dominated the half, really dominated the game. To be fair to them, and we had to tweak what we were doing. And second half was a wee bit more even at the start. Then they go 2 in front, and it's the way we were playing that day. It felt like we might be slipping away a wee bit, but obviously the lads done brilliant. We pushed a wee bit, and the last 20 minutes we really got in the ascendancy, and we were really at it. The last 20 minutes had the bit between our teeth and went at them, and we obviously salvaged something. But and I've said that to the guys in the bigger games, you can't turn it on for 20 minutes and expect to get anything. We were lucky enough we did get something on that occasion, but you can't keep doing that, and that it was really frustrating that it was just a 20-minute spell really where we showed them what we were made of, particularly at home. So it was frustrating, but also pleasing at the same time to get a point. As I spoke about, the close-knit sort of attitude and the unity of the squad, that's really important to me. It's something I try and create, and it was good to see that bit, but we know we can be a lot better.
Nicky, was it important to bounce back for the 2-2 draws with some good victories against Blantyre and Bonnyton?
Aye, obviously Blantyre's a tough place to go. It was a kind of tough night for us as well. I don't think we played very well first half and level, and then second half were a bit better, bit more direct, and it worked. So obviously Blantyre's a tough place to go with the park and that. So to take 3 points from there, it was obviously huge. And then Bonnyton as well, like, you can get into that game and underestimate it, but we played that season last year. It didn't obviously continue. We played Bonnyton, and they gave us a scare. Like, we won 2-1, but we struggled that day, so we knew exactly what we were getting ourselves in for, whereas some other teams might not. But it was good to just go and get 3 points and just kind of get a build up momentum again.
Gordon, obviously after that, the loss to Pollock, was that a hard one to take after the 12-game unbeaten run to start the season?
It was hard. I mean, obviously, as I said a number of times, going back to last season as well, it had been quite a long time since we'd lost a game of football at a club, a very long time. So it was hard to take in that respect. But again, Pollock will feel they were the better team for large chunks, which they were. But again, particularly first half. Second half, we were really going into the game, and then it was, as everybody knows, it was a bit of a freak red card that got rescinded. We actually upped the levels after that, and again, the attitude of we've got 10 men, might as well go for it. The lads were terrific with 10 men. And again, if I'm probably going, we could have got something out of that. Pollock sucker punched us the last kick of the ball, but in hindsight, probably never deserved anything, but could have got something again, which is testament to the players. But it was disappointing to lose such a long unbeaten run, but particularly in manner of doing it. With the red card and all that, it was hard to take. The boys were hurting after that, so was I.
Nicky, obviously after the Pollock result, 2 wins against Cumbernauld and Rutherglen, but for you, what was it like losing that unbeaten run to start the season?
Obviously we knew it was going to come to an end at one point. No, we weren't really going to each game thinking, we might not lose today. It was just the fact we wanted to just continue momentum and stay competitive in the league. And obviously losing to Pollock, who are obviously above us in the league, it was a bit of a blow. That's really the thing. It's a shame to lose unbeaten run, and hopefully we get another one going. But it's probably just the fact we lost to somebody who's round about us in the league. That's probably the main blow for it, to be honest.
Gordon, is it good as well? See, obviously, when you have a bad result, you seem to bounce back with victories. Does that please you how well they're bouncing back?
Yeah, obviously it does. That is a big factor. I've said that to the boys on a number of occasions that good teams react to setbacks. And we've certainly done that after the Pollock game. I think it was it Cumbernauld?
Cumbernauld and Rutherglen.
The Cumbernauld game, a really good performance that day. As Nicky says, against a team who'd caused us all sorts of problems at home park. I thought we were really, really good that day at Cumbernauld, complete control, bar maybe a 15-minute spell at the start of the second half. So that was pleasing. And then obviously the Rutherglen game, different type of game. They sat in their shape and their back five and were organised, and credit to them. They worked very hard, and we had to dig that one out a wee bit more. But again, we got the job done.
Obviously, as well, you've entered into the Scottish Cup. Nicky, how big a buzz is that for you to be playing in the Scottish Cup, and obviously an impressive first round against O'Keefe Thistle, and then obviously going on to Elgin, which is going to be the BBC. It must be a buzz to be part of that competition.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's probably a better testament to the board and the committee with the hard work they've done over the past 20 years to allow us to play in it now. But it's brilliant for us. It's brilliant as players. It's probably what you look forward to each week. You're looking forward to obviously the first round draw and then the game, and then you're in the hat again for the next round. So it's brilliant. It's a good buzz and it's something to look forward to. Elgin will be tough. Obviously, they're 2 leagues above us and all the pressure's on them in effect. They've got to come to us, and it's on TV and stuff, but we think nothing to lose really for the game. We'll go there and give it our best shot, and we're not expected to go through, so all the pressure's on them to come and deliver and make a statement, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
confident in our abilities.
Definitely. Gordon, what's it like for you, obviously, with the Scottish Cup? It's obviously a big thing for the club to get back into that competition after being so long out of it. It must be, like, for you as a manager as well, it must be a great kind of sense of pride as well to be taking part in that kind of competition as being you're the Clydebank manager to do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've said that in a lot of things recently, that it's a huge honour to be the guy leading us into that. Because I know, being a player probably over a decade ago, I know for being a player at the club that was always what we're building towards. It was building towards being a senior team, getting back in these competitions. So the way football works, and a bit of fate, it turns out that it's me that's leading the team back into it. So it's a huge honour. I said to the players after the O'Keefe game in the dressing room that you probably don't appreciate just how happy they've made a lot of people. There was a lot of tears that day, believe it or not, from the board and sort of fans that have been there a long time, when we're coming off the pitch. So that's pleasing. You know, that's why you're in football, to make sort of memories like that. And it's been amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see Clydebank back to taking part in that competition. But obviously last night, the defeat against Hurlford, Nicky, what went wrong?
Probably a combination of things as well. Poor finishing. We made chances. We made a lot of chances. Another day we probably take the majority of them and we come away with 3 points. Probably poor finishing, and coupled with the fact we were a bit poor defensively, which isn't like us tonight. Last night, sorry, a few goals which not like us, a bit poor. But collectively as a whole, if you're not converting your chances and then you're being a bit leaky at the back, it's not going to work out well for you. But Hurlford were good. Like, they were a good side. They done well. Just probably both together combined, just the fact where you're not going to pick up any points on the night.
Gordon, what was your thoughts on last night's performance against Hurlford?
I'd said to your guy Davey after the game, it was a bit of a strange game. Because I thought we started the game well. We could have been in front after a minute with another couple of good chances. You know, Nicky had a good chance. We could have probably scored 3 or 4 goals in the first half, and Hurlford had scored a really good goal. You know, free kick for the edge of the box. So obviously fair play to them because they took their chance, and you know, so I was sitting at half time and I was a wee bit being 1-0 down, a wee bit frustrated with it because I thought we'd played some decent stuff and decent spells, and it was more the chances, just no putting them away. Whereas obviously, as I'd said, in maybe a Darvel and the Pollock game, the bigger games, we never really performed for long spells. So I didn't think it was that last night. I thought we'd done all right. Second half, Hurlford were better. Probably first part of the second half, they were a better team. Got the second goal again for sort of poor defending from us. And then after that, we've really turned up the heat. And when we go 2-1, I'm thinking we'll get at least a point from this. Hendo said that to me after the game, you know, chatting to him, I get on well with Hendo, and he said that himself. He says when it goes 2-1, he says, I'm thinking if we get out with a point, we might be all right. But goes 2-1 and we give them a sort of horror goal from our perspective and kills it stone dead. So as I said to you, you know, it's in the big games we need to take the ascendancy and get that first goal, get a second goal. If you're chasing them, there's only so many times. Even with the quality we've got, there's only so many times you'll dig yourself out of trouble, and just give ourselves too much to do, I think.
Nicky, before we move on to talk about your careers, how do you feel about the start of the season? Do you think it's been relatively good so far? Sitting in third position with 10 wins, it's a lot of teams would have took that at the start of the season.
Majority of it's been good. Like you say, you're third place out of 20 teams, so you've got to look at the positives of it. Probably it's a bit frustrated as well because we've probably dropped points at home where you've got to be looking to use your home form to your advantage, and we've not probably done it up till now. But like you say, probably content where we're at. We know there's a lot of football still left to be played here. So we'll just probably content is probably the word we'll take it on, but we just need to push on for the rest of the season.
Definitely. We'll talk about your careers as well. We'll start with you, Gordon. You obviously spent a bit of time in your playing career at different clubs. You obviously played a bit of senior with Albion and East Stirling, and then junior with Glenafton, Clydebank, obviously Rob Roy. What was your kind of highlights of your playing career?
I think the days down at Annan were good. You know, I left Queen of South at a time when he scrapped the reserve system, and effectively I got offered a 1-year deal as a reserve player to try and fight it out for a first team place. And I was 18-year-old. I didn't think it was going to happen. And I left to go to Annan, and I had 5-6 seasons there. They were up there with the best days of my career. You know, Gary McMenamin, who's my assistant now, you know, we became really good pals over that time, and you know that's why he's ended up with me now. And so they were really good. But I think getting the opportunity to move up and play senior football at that time, because at that time Annan were an East of Scotland team, before they came into the league, and I think getting that chance to take the jump and test myself, that was probably a big highlight. And there was, you know, in my senior career, which was relatively short, there was a lot of big highlights. You know, we got a semi of the Challenge Cup with Albion Rovers, played Ross County, East Stirling. You know, we went to East Stirling when we were doing all the takeover stuff, and there was a lot of excitement about the club, and we're on Sky Sports, we played Rangers at Ibrox, so there was a lot of good things that I would pick out. And then in junior days as well, won a few trophies and promotions, and so loads of things, loads of highlights, but I not really got any major regrets.
Brilliant. Nicky, you obviously had a kind of different start to your career. You spent a bit of time at youth level, then you moved to the States. How did that come about?
Growing up, my family in America, so
Right.
we used to go over there. I used to go over a few times every few years and stuff like that. And then, so I was always aware of the college system and scholarships and all that. So since I was over there and getting the fact you could go and do a scholarship as well for playing football or soccer, whatever they call it. You could go over there and get a degree while playing basically full-time football for 4 years. It was brilliant. No, it was great. It was a brilliant experience. Something to look back on now, and I'm proud of done. I left at 6 years here, then went straight to America at 17. That was me till I was 21. So it was brilliant looking back on it now, and it's full-time football. You're in the gym. It's fitness. They're trying to train you to be an athlete and that as well. It was completely different from what I was used to over here, basically boys club and that as well. But no, it was a great experience, and I've met a lot of great pals through it as well.
You also went to Australia as well. How was that?
Well, one of my pals over from America, he ended up getting a job in Australia as a football coach, and this was over in Sydney, and then he was transferred to Perth for their division, but he was told to basically get his own guys in.
Right.
So I think he just wanted a lot of his pals in as well. So we were in a big house of 6 of us, so we just got a lot of pals over, and that was us in Australia for a year. Again, we played football, we played over there as well, played in the same team that as well. But it was brilliant, just another great experience to say, something you really couldn't say no to. I'd actually signed with Clydebank, and then I'd probably allowed to come back and sign with Clydebank, and then he offered me a job to go to Australia, and I had to phone Budgie up and just think it was the day before pre-season started. So he's probably team's already started, and I've just phoned him and went, I got a job in Australia. I think he thought I was taking the mickey at him.
He was buzzing with that one.
I don't think he was best pleased. It's feel dry at the best of times. So I just told him I won't be here for a year, but I'll let you know when I'm coming back. And obviously a year later I was back, and that was me. But no, another great experience. It's something that probably, looking back now, I'm glad I've done. If I said no back then, I'd probably regret it. But no, it was a great experience as well.
Brilliant. Gordon, obviously you move into your kind of coaching after at Rob Roy. You go in with Stuart Maxwell as assistant, and then obviously your time at WOSFL, you lead them to back-to-back promotions. Talk about, first of all, kind of Rob Roy and how it came about that you went into coaching. Was it always a plan to go into that part of the game?
It was always my plan to be a manager ultimately. So it was always my plan to go into coaching and see where that could take me. I know that not everybody's lucky enough to just dive into a management job, but it came about quicker than I expected. I basically retired effectively when I was 32. I went in and Max made me club captain at Rob Roy when I left Clydebank. My first league game, I've popped my eye socket, detached my retina. Pretty serious injury. Surgeons at the time said it was similar to a car crash injury. Patched me up and I finished that season. But in my job, I worked with computers and data and stuff. And, the surgeon effectively said to me, take another bang in that same area, you've got big problems. And, my missus was obviously on my case as well. So I made the decision. I went in for signing talks with Maxie for obviously the following season. I think he was looking for me to obviously just sign another year. And I just said to him, look, I'm done. I'm not playing. And to be fair to him, he just instantly said, well, come into the coaching staff. I've seen enough of you as being captain. So that was how it came about. And, we had big Paul Ronald there, who was great for me. He was assistant and really good coach. Learned a lot from him. And then when Paul left to go to Queen's Park, again, Maxie's asked me to step up to be assistant. So jumped at it. And then really from there, I was just looking, when I moved to assistant, that was made up my mind that I don't want to do this. I want to be a manager in my own right. So and I'd been clear with Maxie on that. I was honest and upfront about it, that there will be a point where I'm going, and then obviously Rossville thing came up.
How pleased are you with the job you've done at Rossville? Back-to-back promotions must be a great accomplishment for you.
I really proud of what I did there. I talk about budgets now, and at Clydebank we've maybe not got the greatest budget in the world compared to some of the teams we're competing with. But when we went into Rossville, it was like there was next to nothing there budget wise, and it was a tough job. But Brian McGinty had been in before me, had built a good squad, and I went in and sort of looked at a few training sessions and thought we can do something here. And obviously we went on and won the title in my first season, which I had a lot of managers text me saying enjoy that. Like, some managers never win a league in their whole career. So I think I had to take a step back and really enjoy that. And then when we kicked up into the championship, it was a lot of people saying, "Oh, you'll be happy just to stay up in that." But in my head, I was looking at this group of boys we had, and I'd added a few, and I quietly thought to myself, like, we can do something here. And obviously, to get them into Premier League was a good accomplishment.
Brilliant. Nicky, you obviously spent a bit of time at Lags and Pollock, then you're now at Clydebank. What's been kind of your highlights your past few years of your career since you came back from Australia?
No, it was good because I played the Lags before I came back from America, and that was just an eye opener. Like, it was coming into playing with guys who were, I was 21 and playing with guys who were 38 and 40, like Gus Gault, Stevie Connick. They were great guys, but it was like I probably caught the end of like the old school changing room. So that was like an eye opener compared to what I was used to in America. But then after Australia, come back to Clydebank, and I think Budgie just built a brand new squad as well. So it was all guys similar ages myself, and we got on great, like socialising outside of football, and we've still got a group chat now and like planning night outs and that as well. So from a kind of good bunch who just kind of fitted well. We just missed out in promotion in the first season. I think it was us co-winning Cumnock and Largs. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's 4 Premier League teams who were going. We just missed out by a few points as well. And then next year we got promoted, and then after that I moved to Pollock for a year, and then come back the following year, and then it's been obviously moved over to the West of Scotland League, so it's been good.
Brilliant. We'll go on to the quickfire questions and teammates round. So Gordon, what we do is we ask you a couple of quickfire management questions, and then Nicky will ask you some teammates questions, and Gordon can chip in with his if he agrees or disagrees with you. But we'll start with Gordon with the quickfire questions round. First of all, Gerrard or Postecoglou?
Well, I'm a Man United fan, so I'll probably have to say Postecoglou.
How much has the infrastructure changed at the club since you first went in?
Well, with us, it's probably night and day, because obviously we had to make a push on a licence. So, even the difference when I played at the club to first coming in was big, and then the jump again over the last 2 years has been amazing. A lot of hard work. There's a lot goes into that licence that maybe people don't see, and I mean in the background, paperwork stuff and admin and coaching badges and all that. But around the ground, putting up the wee shelters, we've still got one to go up and the big shed to go up. But, disabled facilities, a lot has went into it. And, again, testament to Grace and the board. It's been excellent.
Brilliant. Do you have ambitions to move up the ladder as a manager in Scottish football?
I think everybody does. I think it was the same as a player. I spoke about jumping to senior football. I think you want to go and get to the highest level you possibly can, and I want that to be with Clydebank ideally.
You can pick 3 players from other clubs in the Premier Division to sign for Clydebank. Who would you pick?
We're watching.
Try to get me in bother.
Stitch up.
What's a tough one? I'll try to go one feature of the pitch just off the top of my head, and there's so many good players in this league. At back, probably Daryl Megart for Darvel, excellent defender, superb. Could be playing a few levels above, and it's lucky we've got him in this league. Midfield, go with Fries for Beef. Player always does well. Games I watch, he's up and down, great energy, good use of the ball. up top, I'll go with Graham Wilson. Just a player I've always admired. Played against him, so I understand what he brings to the party. I was obviously towards the end, but his movement was top draw, and he's just continued on. I know he's maybe a wee bit of stop-start one this season, but he's top notch.
Brilliant. Best player played with?
I've answered this on a couple of things.
Don't say Gaz Mac.
No, I'm not saying Gaz. His head's big enough. A few, if you don't mind, I'll probably say at different stages in my career, Chris Jardine at Annan, who's club captain, top draw, probably ability-wise best player I've played with, midfielder, centre mid, take the ball anywhere. Senior days, Kieran Donnelly at Albion Rovers, centre back, good in there. Probably the first time I've genuinely seen a completely two-footed player as a centre back. Used to throw free kicks down, shell one diagonal with his right foot, throw it down, throw it the other way with his left foot with the same quality. He was excellent. Junior days, probably Daz McKinnon at Clydebank. The season when he got his move to Hamilton, he was unplayable, absolutely unstoppable.
Brilliant. Who's the worst?
The worst player? I don't know. I wouldn't like to say. I mean, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there.
Best character in a dressing room?
Best character? I've had a few. Kieran that I mentioned at Albion Rovers, he was wild. Jamie Ewings in that dressing room as well. He's part of the stuff for the SFA now with the goalkeeping. He was bonkers in the changing room. There was a couple at Annan as well. Guy Gary Cochran that we played with at Annan, he was a great character. There's one as well, the late Stan Leslie that we played with at Annan. He passed away from a brain hemorrhage. He was absolute life and soul of the dressing room. Such a big miss when he unfortunately passed away.
Brilliant. Favourite manager in the league?
In our league?
Aye.
Favourite?
Like, who do you look forward to when you play them and go and have a cup of tea with them after the game?
I get on with a few guys. I get on with a few of them. Get on quite well with Lovering now at Ben Bub. We used to have a few ding-dongs coming through the leagues with Ben's and WOSFL, but now we get on quite well. I'd probably say last night's opponents, I'd probably say Dan Henderson. He's, for a few reasons, I speak to him quite a lot, sort of leaning each other quite a lot about information and stuff, but that probably kicked off when I first went to Clydebank. He knew that I'd done quite well at WOSFL, and when we first went in, I think we won 6 in the bounce or something when I first took the job, but then we had a wee run, we lost like 5 or 6 in the bounce, and that was kind of where that, as I said to you, that's where that squad was at the time. They were so up and down, and I was quite down and low and that about it, and Darren actually texted me out the blue. I think we'd lost our 5th game in a row or something, or 6th game in a row, and he just texted me out the blue. I didn't know him that well at the time, just saying like, keep your head up, mate, you're a young manager, you get spells like this, it happens, it'll turn, and need any advice, give me a phone and that, and I took him up on that, and I did, and I've never forgot that, didn't need to do that, so I'd probably say Darren.
Favourite film?
Favourite film? Geez, I like a lot of the sort of classics, Shawshank and all the usual ones, but that's boring answers, isn't it? I like a lot of the sort of the 90s sort of gangster films, Snatch and things like that, so probably say one of them.
Proudest moment in football?
Proudest moment? It's a tough one. Probably, as a player, as I said, I've probably mentioned it, probably getting a chance to go and play senior football, because that's what we all want to do ultimately when we start playing. As a manager, probably my first season, winning a title my first season, that was probably quite a proud moment. My mum had no long passed away, and the way the last game of the season went and all that, it was kind of, Port Glasgow got a penalty, and I was saying a wee word with her, you know, while it happened and that, and I was just a bit emotional after it, so I'd probably say that.
Brilliant. Right, Nicky, it's your turn now. You need to answer these honestly, and just remember as well, Gordon can chip in with his answer straight after you. So, teammates, best trainer.
Best trainer? Not really got a bad one, to be fair. Best trainer? Maybe be Ocean McHugh. The young boys come through like under 20s teams, but like one of them guys that would just come through back of you at training, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? And you're like, just a young guy, just pure enthusiastic, just kind of wants to learn. I'd probably maybe just go Ocean. He's fit as well, really fit, so he's always up there running that as well. I'd maybe go Ocean.
Ocean would be up there. I think Ocean won the bleep test in pre-season, one of the first sessions back. Yeah.
Who's the worst?
There's a question. It depends when you're asking, because if you mean a Tuesday and Chris Black's been out on a Saturday, Sunday, it's 100% Chris Black. He's like a ball bouncing off him. Or Conor Linus maybe turns up for an hour a week, goes to drama school Tuesday, Thursday, and comes in for a Tuesday annual session maybe.
Conor's got college. He kind of, and to be fair to him, he still always makes the effort to get there, but he's always in a wee bit late. So, but we do have we've got a jersey, you know, for the worst trainer that is actually randomly a T-shirt with Paul Byrne's face on it, which Nicky will probably know the story better than me between the boys, but that's became the sort of Diddy T-shirt. So depends what week you ask, Scott. The worst trainer gets a T-shirt every week. So
I'm trying to think who's had it the most. I'm trying Blackie or Kev Green maybe.
Kev Green, I think, he's had it a couple of times.
Brilliant. Team Hardman.
Probably the last two. I just two kid on Hardman. Kev Green maybe. Blackie likes to throw his hat in the ring then run away. Jambo probably the same, shouts his mouth off but doesn't get involved.
Fraser maybe in a tackle.
One of them three.
Most skillful.
Got to be a winger in it, maybe. Cammy or Wee Bilbo, maybe. Lee, probably say Cammy. Cammy can do some stuff in training that just embarrasses you, like skills and that stuff. I wouldn't even know where to start with. I go with Cammy.
Gordon, you agreeing, Cammy?
I would say between Cammy and Bilbo, just for skill, just cheeky stuff, nutmegs at will.
Quickest player?
There's a few probably deceivingly quick. I think Matt McLean's quick for a centre half, but I'd probably say Cammy's faster than him. Kieran Mulcahy's fast actually. I don't know, actually not really a sprint to see who is the fastest at training right enough. I'd maybe go over 10, 20 yards, I'd maybe say Cammy or Kieran Mulcahy. I think Kieran could be exceptionally fast.
Who's the slowest?
Slowest? I'm going to say me, but I forgot Jamie Darroch. Jamie Darroch's there.
Big Jai's up there.
Big Jai D. After they come back to pre-season, I think after Jai D. I think he was getting lapped.
Best character?
Character. There's actually a few chip in. Big Jambo maybe. Big Jambo, he just can't trust him. He's still a guy like 2021, he still got that app where he can phone you from somebody else's phone and you think it's somebody else who's phoning you. So you've got to always be aware that whenever you think like, you're always aware you think like the newspaper's phoning you, but he's probably just got the first few minutes, you just like one word answers until you know it's not Jambo. And then I think he actually phoned, he just joined last year, hadn't really met anybody, and he phoned Paul Byrne saying it was you, Gaffer, about half 12 at night or 1 in the morning. I think Byrne woke up the next day, texts me going, why is the Gaffer phoning me at 1 in the morning? But you can never, you've just got to watch it. Maybe just Jambo, you never really know. But apart from like tricks and that, I'd probably just say I'll go with Jambo for character wise.
Worst dress sense?
Easy. Chris Black. We did night out 2 weeks ago after the Dalkeith game. So we all get ready at like Home Park, and then we had a few beers and pizza and stuff at Home Park, and then the boys went straight up to the town. So boys getting ready up, and also committee and that are all there as well. So boys are scared to walk out because they were getting slaughtered for the clubber. But once you seen Blackie go before you, you were fine. You could just walk out after him and just wait till he goes. He's a shocker. It's always like your mad flowery shirts and pattern t-shirts and that. He's 100% worst dressed.
Final question, teacher's pet.
People are going to say me, but I'm going to say it's not. I'm going to say it's Sevy. Sevy and the gaffer have got a wee golf thing that going as well, and their mates away from Flipper. So I'm going to say Joe Slattery, and it's not me.
Gordon, who's the teacher's pet?
Well, to be fair, I try and play golf with a few of the guys. You know, I try and burn my way in if there's a game going on a Friday afternoon. They probably none of them want to play with me, but I try and miss my way in for a wee game. Some of them are off on a Friday, so. But I think Nicky's probably right. If you asked anybody else in the squad, they'd probably say Nicky Little. So
brilliant. As you might have seen the show before, what we do is we get in touch with people close to the both of you and ask if there's any stories, and we've got a few here, by the way. There's a few really good ones. We'll start off with Nicky. There's a few here first and foremost. Why does Nicky spank the monkey?
I think that's just by luck. It's me, to be honest. I think obviously we've got Bankies TV who film me games, and they've got Paul Cummins and Cod who are doing like a commentary and that for it as well. So I think I just scored by chance. That was going to be whoever scored next was going to get that stuck to them. So by chance I scored. I think that's just why it stuck to me. I don't think it's nothing personal anyway. I don't hope.
There's also another one here. On a team night out, you get lost from Merchant to Rev, and it's literally 2 corners up. Turns up 15 minutes later, then everyone absolutely soaking wet. Talk to us about that, because we get that in more than once actually.
2 weeks ago, we went to. I've played Dalkeith, few drinks at Home Park, taxis up to Merchant, and then we booked like Revolution after it. But it was pissing down, and then I thought, I'll just charge it down, and I thought like they were all behind me, but they were also waiting for a taxi, and they were telling me to wait for a taxi, but I didn't think they were. So I walked in, obviously a few drinks in me, and next thing you know, I'm halfway down to like Revolution, realising myself, and then my phone's kind of dying, so I never checked my phone to see where I was, and then I got a bit lost. But it's pissing down as well, so I ended up like under the shelter at this amusements arcade thing. I don't really know what's going on, and I walked out, and then I need to get Matt Niven to send me his location to see where he is. So this by the time I find out where they all are in Revolution, I turned up and I'm soaking. Like the next morning, I woke up and next to my bed, my clothes are actually still wet. I can't believe I actually sat in Revolution, pure heat to toe, dripping with wet, soaking wet for about 4 hours, man. It's embarrassing.
Gordon, do you feel your management authority is undermined by 2 models who think they're Tony Pulis? I've just got the name Paul Byrne and Chris Black, baseball caps.
Oh, there's a few shocking hats going about the now. Kirky's got one as well, by the way, the 3 of them. But Paul Byrne's probably worst offender. He's getting called the hat round about training the now, because he comes in with these Tony Pulis caps. They're absolutely. I wear caps myself all the time, but the things that they're wearing are absolute shockers.
What are Jamie Donnelly's tunes like before a game?
Shocking. He's not been there last.
It's some sound system he's got. I actually had it for pre-season when we were training at Vicky Park. So I got a lend it because we were doing the bleep test and all that, and I kept it for a while. So I kind of had it, and when it was a good weather in the summer, going to the beach with the missus and all that, I'm kicking about this big boombox. But there's some volume in it, to be fair. And that's Jambo's thing, straight in, gets the phone hooked up, and likes to be in control. So we just leave him to it.
Who is the oldest looking 24-year-old in history, and who was nearly denied access into the young team training one night?
Adam Hodge. The boy, he can never believe he's 24 years old, man. I think it was the time we lined up at training, and it was young v old, and you're like, all right, you're taking the piss, you've got a bib on. He's like, no, I'm on a 24. Oh, you're right. He's so
I think I went through that as well, you know, when we're signing Hodgie at the start of this season, you know, because we spoke about, you know, right backs and who we thought were the sort of the best ones in the league and who could we go and get. And I'd sort of said, Hodgie's got good experience, he's played a lot of games at this level and that, been with Hurlford a long time. And I was actually taken aback myself, it was only 24, you know, so I was like, it was a wee bit offended by that, but I meant that, you know, genuinely. It was a bonus for me. He was 24, but I couldn't believe it.
Nicky, how does it feel to have scored the same amount of goals for Clydebank as it takes you to complete 18 holes of golf?
Who's saying that? Mark Waters?
Yeah, there's a few for him.
It's good he's mentioned 100 goals, though, eh? It's good he's mentioned who scored the 100 goal against. To be fair, he done me a favour that day.
How have you managed to get a full Sunday session paid for in Liverpool, sorry?
Well, we've got a team night out. Oh, actually, I know what you're talking about now. Again, we usually go to Liverpool Saturday, Sunday for the Christmas do, so we booked it again. Obviously, last year it never happened, but 2 years ago, I get absolutely rinsed at Mark Waters. End up going out a whole Sunday in Liverpool and he forgets his wallet. He's never seen the likes of it again. Absolutely rinsed, man, then. So he still owes me a good few ton for that, actually.
This is for Gordon and Nicky as well. You can have a wee comment on this as well. What was your thoughts on Matty McLean's world record sponsored silence attempt and how much is he raised now?
I'm assuming that's to do with the boys chat and all that. I mean, I'm obviously not in that, but I've heard that Matt gets a bit of prodding at time to say something in the chat. So I'm assuming that's what that's about.
Matty's a good boy, but sometimes we go nights out, he'll just sit for a few hours and not speak to anybody. Sit on his phone, so that's probably where that's coming from.
Sharing a car with Chris Black and Jamie Darroch must be very tough in the ears. How have you suffered that for so long, Nicky, and what is your secret?
Just get used to it, really. Just get Jamie to drive me and Blackie to buy you coffees and I'll sit with anybody.
Gordon, this final one's for you before we move into some questions from the fans. Ask Moffat if he feels he is on a sugary peg after last night's result.
Who's asking that?
The same guy that's asked quite a few things.
Nah, I mean, it's still disappointed for last night. In all seriousness, it's I don't sleep really well when we lose. But I mean, in terms of where we've came from, for me, we've made a lot of progress. You know, in all seriousness, I think we've lost 2 games and whatever it is, 28, 30 games. But I still want more. You know, I still think there's a lot of improvement to come.
Yeah, definitely. We'll touch on a few questions for the fans as well before we move into the final previews for what's coming up for us in the next couple of weeks. What are your hopes and objectives for the next 5 years at Clydebank FC, and how proud would you be to lead the team back to the SPFL?
Well, I think it's obvious what the ambition is for the club. You know, we went for a licence and everybody knows the backstory of where we've came through, right through the junior leagues and then back into senior football. So I think that's clear. 5 years, I would like to think we've at least made the jump to Lowland. That would be my target. Certainly, there's no pressure from the club. There's no pressure from Grace. She's not putting a time limit on that. She knows. Again, we spoke about it when I came in. We knew kind of where we were and where we need to be. I think the season I came in at the start of that season 2 years ago, the season before that, the club we'd lost 13 games and won 13 games. So it was a real up and down team. And in my mind, the first thing was to get us competitive again at the top end in the bigger games, which I feel we're doing. The next jump for me is to be winning those big games all the time, which we know we need to keep pushing towards that. But to answer the question, Scott, my ambition would be to be in the Lowland League within that 5 years. That's my target. And then obviously from then you're looking to try and build again. But to do that, you're trying to increase the budget. The Scottish Cup plays a part in that. Get a run in that. That's our kind of plan to do that. Because we don't have a person pumping money into us, but that's a plan to try and increase our budget.
Yeah, definitely. Can the guys please let us know what their favourite filling is on the full-time pieces? We'll start with you, Nicky.
Can I just like a basic cheese savoury? I'm not mad. I'm happy with that. That's cool with me.
Gordon, what's yours?
The full-time pieces, I don't eat much really at full-time. I leave it to the boys and that. But I'm the same. Just something basic, a cheese and hammer. That's a nice wee sandwich. That's what you're after. Don't try and get too clever with it. Do you know what I mean?
I'm the same, man.
I've got a question for Colin Crosby. Clydebank have a really good squad this year. It's been used to good effect. Unfortunately, injuries have left us struggling a bit up front. Is Gordon looking to add to the squad to provide extra cover?
I think on that, and I've watched a few of your things, Scott. I obviously watched a lot of the interviews going around the clubs and all that. Most teams have been the same at some point. I've certainly never known anything like it. And I was speaking actually to Dean Keenan for Troon the other night. And we were saying the same. I don't know if it has played a part of stop-start for 18 months and then suddenly you're asking guys go Wednesday, Saturday. Well, I'd imagine it has played a part.
Yeah.
And it's been, it has been difficult. We had times we're getting guys back now, but we had times we had 8, 9 guys out, that could all be looking to start a game. That's hard for any team. But to answer the question, probably the one at the moment is Kieran Mulcahy, who's really, really frustrated because he came off the bench on Saturday, done really well, but his knee flares up again straight after it, and that's him for a week again. So we've really been trying to manage him and get him back, but we'll probably need to get him to see a specialist. Ross McPherson's now just starting to get back to full fitness. I would say he said himself last night, it's the first time he's felt properly ready to go. He's had a few wee setbacks with COVID and a muscle strain. Nicky, again, our captain, he had a muscle injury a few weeks ago, and Hamish McKinley's been the same. So all 4 of them have suffered for various things this season. Kieran's probably a wee bit out of the picture just now because we need to get him really seen to. But if we can keep the other 3 fit, I'd be happy with that. But yes, if one of them was to drop by the wayside, then it leaves us a bit light, and we'd probably be looking to add someone.
Nicky, this is for you. This is for Stevie Dugan. It's clear that your away form is so much better so far this season than home. Do the team feel added pressure at home? Is it due to a more difficult set of fixtures at home, or is it something else?
If we knew the exact reason, it's something we could pinpoint it. At home form, it's not been good enough really, even though we're still sitting third in the table. Or if we could rectify our home form, we'd be in a much better position. I don't think it's to do with the fans at all, or the demands of the fans. It's probably when you're playing for a bigger club near the top end of the table, it comes part and parcel. You've got to take the good with the bad. You're going to get a lot of plaudits when you're up at the end of the table, but you've got to take a wee bit of criticism as well when it's not going so well. I don't think it's cause of that. I just think, I don't know if maybe teams enjoy coming to us as well. They enjoy sometimes some surfaces aren't so good, but they come here a good Astro and they know they can pass and they can play, and maybe I don't. The actual reason I couldn't put my finger on it as it stands, but it's something we probably know we need to rectify.
Does the gaffer have 2 other coaches as coping with Kirky as a 3-man job?
He's a full-time job at times. Nah, I mean, listen, the guys that I've got by my side, that's brilliant. Again, I've spoken about that before. We added Phil Bannister to that as a goalkeeper coach on a permanent basis more recently. He was in helping us out initially, and Phil really loved it and felt he wanted to be a part of it. So in terms of the 4 guys I've got supporting me, five people actually, I should say, and include Kira in that, is a physio, and she's really doing well as well. I've got such a good supporting team that couldn't ask for any more for them.
Brilliant. Final question from Tommy Griffin. Clydebank used to be in the upper leagues and obviously aspire to get back there. Where do you think your new natural level will be, and is there added pressure to get there quick because of the club's past? You've kind of touched on that, but obviously it's an interesting thing. Do the club, like the kind of committee and things like that, do they have that kind of pressure on, like, the fact that obviously this is and now an opportunity for Clydebank to get back to where they were like 20, 25 years ago. Like, is that kind of message from the top to get like there as quickly as possible? Is that everything kind of spoke about with you, Gordon?
I think, as I've said, Grace and I have chats very regularly, and when I first came in, there was obviously a remit to, we're at the bottom end of the league, and it's obviously to get us safe at that time. And then I think that season we ended up fifth, but it was ninth in points per game, which again that was just where things were at that time. So, the first remit, Grace was quite clear that I want us to improve. I want us to get back up towards the top end of the league. She wasn't putting down crazy demands to go and win the title or anything, but we wanted to improve. And then I think when the licence thing came along, that was probably at the point where, again, we had a bit of a chat about it, like what is the target here, where are we heading? And I think, the board, they're always a collective, they're clear in what they want to do. They want us to climb through the levels. But they're certainly not heaping pressure on me of a 2-year plan or anything like that. If anything, I probably put that on myself because of what I'd done at my last club. It was jumping the levels, and I know it's coming from a different level altogether, but I've got that pressure on myself that I've been used to winning, and I want to put that onto the players. I want us to climb into the Lowland League as quick as possible, but I'm also realistic about, I touched on it before, about where we are in terms of right at this minute, in terms of maybe budgets in the league. And I've spoken about this before, that I don't think you should hide behind budget stuff, because everybody's got different budgets, and I don't know what other clubs' budgets are, but I know where we are, and I've got a fair idea of roughly where other clubs will be. And I know that we're up there punching with some probably big budgets, but at the same time, you can't hide behind that, because when I played at a club, we never had a big budget, and we're a top 3 Premier League club. So if you build a squad in the right manner and you go about your business, you can be up there. So for me, this season, as I said to you, Scott, in the summer, it was about getting us up towards that end and competing in the big games again. Next year, I'll probably be pushing myself and the players. We need to be going again and really starting to threaten for that title. That's in my mind where we need to be. But no, probably a long-winded way of saying that, Grace isn't putting that pressure on me of it needs to happen next season, but at the same time, she would love it to, and that is clear where we want to be.
Brilliant. We'll move on to what's coming up for Clydebank. You've got 2 massive games coming up in the next 2 weeks. Home to the Buffs on Saturday, then away to Beath. Nicky, how big are the games for the team to get back to winning ways?
Huge. Massive. Like, there's a bit of a question mark regarding probably over ourselves now after last night, and probably over a home form as well. There's question marks over the whole team and the boys now, so we know we need to go and put it right. It's now probably a bit back to the walls, and we can move fighting and see how we go on. But no, 2 massive games. We know how good this side are co-winning. I mean, they're at the top end of the table for a reason as well. And Beath are always tough. I played the Butch. I know what Butch is like. I know what Butch's teams are like, so they'll be really tough as well. So 2 massive games.
Gordon, what's your thoughts in the next 2 games coming up?
Just as Nicky says, both really tough games, but the games we need to come out and express ourselves, starting on Saturday. Real tough one. Anytime we play Chinese teams, you're getting a tough game. His team works incredibly hard, and he's always got a good shape about him. So it's going to be a really tough game. It's a really big game. We need a bit of a reaction from last night, and then next week, it's always a tough game over there at Beath. We played them over there in the Challenge last season, beat them in extra time. Really tough game, full of good players. So listen, as I said, I was speaking to Hendel about this last night again. Every single game in this league, it's a tough, ruthless league. And I think, you've only got to look at some of the results. It's sometimes I look at results and I'm like, that's a big result, but it's everybody could beat everybody. It's a wee bit of a cliche, but if you're not at it, you're going to have a bad day, and that's what we're trying to sort of express to the players.
Brilliant. But we are going to wrap up the show there. I want to just thank Gordon and Nicky for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure to be on.
Thanks.
No worries.
Brilliant. Thanks very much to everyone who's tuned in. Please follow our social media pages and subscribe to our social media podcast and YouTube channels. Gordon, Nicky as well, best of luck for the season ahead. You're doing great so far, and here's hoping it picks up. Everyone picks up, and you go into a successful season.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, Scott. And keep doing what you're doing, mate. The show's really good.
Thanks very much. I really appreciate the kind words. Thanks very much to everyone. We'll see you soon. Cheers.